Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple hours, along with Spence.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Katie is with us.
Morning.
Good morning. And Gal is here.
Who are all you people? Well, what are you doing here?
Stranger danger.
Nick.
Good morning.
Nick sent a text saying that he will try and be here later. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. Kind of a wet morning here in Raleigh.
Yeah, I woke up and I heard like the pitter patter of rain, and
Yep.
then all of a sudden it was like it just like dumped everything, and it scared me because it really was 1 second kind of just quiet, calming rain, and the next it was like a tsunami just came through and dumped everything, and then it stopped after a few minutes. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, if you look at the radar, you can see that it's doing that. It's just like little bitty cells that come and go.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yep.
Bands of rain.
And this weekend they had the koi show somewhere in Raleigh, and I went there to check out the fish, and they were very impressive. It was huge fish, like koi fish that were probably 3 feet long,
Wow.
like massive. Because when we got there, they had two big outdoor tents. One tent was for selling the fish, and then the other tent was for judging the fish. So apparently, it was like a dog show but with fish. And yeah, the massive fish. And what was crazy is I asked, I was like, who, like, these fish could cost upwards of like 25 to 30 grand when they get that big.
Mhm.
And these are like show fish or whatever, so they're probably cost that much. And the big fish, I asked the guy that was walking around like judging them or whatever, and they were pretty open to talking to people, but I was like, where do these fish come from? Like, are these local? He's like, no, this one's from some, not a farm, but some place in Chicago or in Illinois. And he said that they have a 30-foot by 8 feet deep pool that these fish live in, and then they travel around the country. They have their trailer, and they put the fish in like these bags. I don't know how they do it, but the fish make it down to North Carolina from Illinois and get judged. And they are
So
very expensive.
how was the rodeo part of it? Did they have little leashes on the fish and they were jumping around?
No.
They would run along and the fish would follow them?
Yeah, totally. The rodeo part of it is that it was all of the cages with the fish, not cages, tanks were set up in a circle. So that was kind of like a rodeo.
And they jump from tank to tank? That's cool.
Gosh, no, these were like super lazy fish.
So
Like they got that vibe. Like imagine giant goldfish. Like they were just vibing in the tanks.
Yeah. So did you find out how much they were selling some of these fish?
Yeah. So I'm done. If you ever sold your fish, you can get your fish for around $1,000, the big ones. So you've got fish that are about a foot long.
Yeah.
And they were selling those. They were selling ones smaller than that for $700. So ones that were about like 10 inches long.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had like ones that are probably like 3 or 4 inches that were $30. But yeah, if you ever, I was thinking, dang, I'm gonna need he's because you got a pond outside, you could just become a fish farmer and start selling
Yeah,
those fish,
it
make
makes
bank.
yeah, you need to have people that wanna pay that, not, uh
Well, I mean, there you go. You just got to travel the
I'll bet
country at
you
these
yeah,
koi
right.
shows.
I'll bet you didn't see people waiting in line to buy them.
No, there were quite a few people walking around,
Yeah,
but I didn't see anybody walk away with fish. But the tanks weren't super full. But I don't know.
no,
What was I gonna say? Oh, the thing that I was kind of disappointed in is the koi fish are beautiful, but they really only come in like 3 or 4 colors.
right.
And so I was like, dang, because I'm used to like I know basically they're fancy goldfish, right? But some of the like the big ones, they get graded on how pretty their scales are and their color combinations and stuff. And so they had some like black and white ones and some silver ones that were really pretty. But after a while, I'm just like, man, I wish I could see like a purple fish or a blue fish or a green one. Because they were all some kind of shade of orange, black, or white. And I'm like, okay. Well, I mean, they're impressive, but I want variety.
No,
Nobody's cracked the code on uh, breeding them for colors, I guess.
I don't know. I'm sure I'm insulting everybody that has a koi fish right now. They're probably really angry at me. But
uh,
Isn't the family of fish they're a part of carp?
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
the
part of the
goldfish are
goldfish
carp
family.
too.
yeah, yeah. That's what I mean. Carp is like the general term for
Yeah.
basically fish you can't eat.
Well, they're a big
They
big
live a
deal in
long time.
Japan, so
Yeah,
Mm.
they live very long, uh, many
anyways.
years.
So I saw some fish.
So you have to put it in your will that somebody will take care of your fish after you're gone.
I guess. That's a good point. It's like a parrot. Parrots live for like 50 or 60 years. I don't know how long goldfish live, but these fish I wonder if they live like indefinitely as long as their conditions are right.
I I mean, I heard 100 years,
Yeah.
but I
Actually,
don't know.
they're really alien. They came from another planet and they're just observing us.
Yeah, with their slow
Yeah,
faces that
Yeah.
open
there'll
their
be an
We
mouths
are the
fully.
invasion.
experiment.
The-
These giant balls of water will be approach the Earth to attack us, and they'll all be in it,
Yeah.
ready to take over.
So you had fun.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was fine. We were there for maybe 30 minutes. It was like going to a really small zoo
Yep.
or aquarium that only catered to goldfish.
Nice.
Anyways, that's what I did.
All right. So the company behind the Raspberry Pi line of computers has raised fresh investment from Sony's semiconductor unit in a deal aimed at advancing its efforts in artificial intelligence. Sony Semiconductor Solutions, a subsidiary of Sony Corporation, invested an undisclosed amount in Raspberry Pi Ltd, the trading company of Raspberry Pi. The extent of the funding was not revealed, but Eben Upton, Raspberry Pi's co-founder and CEO, said that the firm raised the cash at the same 500 million valuation it was worth in a 2021 funding round when it brought in 45 million. So I don't know if this means that Raspberry Pi is trying to get into artificial intelligence with Raspberry Pis.
Now, it means that you will be so AI models,
Yeah,
they are they require today running them without a GPU is useless. And even GPUs, they're not necessarily 100% tailored for AI. The high-end GPUs, the GPUs for servers, basically, those are the ones that are super tailored for
right.
running AI. It also requires a lot of RAM.
So what?
So
So what? Why are they mentioning
because
AI?
what they want is to be able to run AI models on Raspberry Pis. the whole idea of the Raspberry Pi is to basically provide a computing instance, a computing node that can be versatile and can be cheap. So you can buy as many as you want and do whatever project as you want when with mesh, right? Uh, so that's just it's an evolutionary step. It's just in order to do that, they need uh, so to me it sounds that Sony is looking at the Pi as a way of shipping their uh, um, semiconductors, their chips to drive AI, because Raspberry Pi is such a popular cheap computing platform, right? Uh, I do not know of any Sony specific technology out there right now uh, that is highlighted as the AI. Right now, it's mostly NVIDIA and Intel that are
Right.
working in this. IBM has their own, but I doubt it's about just hardware from IBM, right? It's a lot more complex there. So uh, it sounds like it's actually a way in for Sony. Raspberry Pi, if you look at the advantages are for its customers, not for Raspberry Pi. I might be reading it wrong. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
It's just interesting that that little thing that started just for
So if you can think
hobbyists
about
is
right, but if you think about, I mean, I doubt. I know Raspberry Pi was marketed at the beginning as a hobbyist
right.
thing, right?
Yeah,
I
today it's
doubt that was the plan from the start. Maybe I mean, uh, but if you look at what is, it's completely in line because this will bring AI to hobbyists, right? And then you'll get innovation that you didn't expect, because now somebody is just going to be busy in I don't know, in identifying whether their dog ate their dog food or not, right? Something that is not necessarily marketable or not marketable the way they did it at the first step, but it will allow them to tinker and play with it. The AI models today are very demanding. Even those that you can download to a PC with a GPU and run them, you still need a $3,000 PC to run something effectively, right? So yeah, this is an interesting one.
I don't remember, was it last week that we talked about the uh, GPUs from NVIDIA for AI guys? The one that's like 40,000 and 50,000.
Uh, I think that was 2 weeks ago. I
Okay.
was because
Yeah.
I wasn't on the show last week, and I remember we talking about
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah, they're not no $3,000. They're I mean, and they said that Elon Musk bought a bunch of them.
yeah, but it was also about a shortage, I think, and that's why the price gouging is going up. But yeah, they're called. I can't remember the name right now, starting with an A. I don't remember the name. And the server-based GPUs, it basically a card that you put in a server,
Mhm.
right? And it's equivalent like to a 24-core GPU or something like that, because it's designed to work with virtualization and be split up in terms of load across multiple VMs and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
they're expensive.
Yep. Alright. Now, I understood from you that if you don't pay for the subscription for ChatGPT, then your information goes into a pool that they use to train it.
Um, they collect the data. They have
Yeah.
not explained how. Yeah.
So now they're saying OpenAI is letting people to withhold their GPT conversations from use in training the artificial intelligence company's model. The move would be a privacy safeguard for people who sometimes share sensitive information with the popular AI chatbot. The startup said Tuesday that ChatGPT users can now turn off their chat histories by clicking a toggle switch in their account setting.
Yeah, I see it now. I just checked it.
When people do this, their conversations will no longer be saved in ChatGPT's history sidebar, located on the left side of the web page, and OpenAI's models won't use that data to improve over time.
That makes sense though, because isn't it kind of reminds me of cookies, where a few years ago, like, they would ask you, do you want cookies or not? But it wasn't on every website. And now every single website you go to, it has to say, do you
Yeah,
accept cookies or not?
right.
And that's kind of like what this is to me. I'm like simplifying it, but they're probably covering their butts, because this is probably gonna head in a direction where regulations like you can't hold information if people don't want you to or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
So
Oh, no.
it doesn't
Well,
surprise me.
right. The moment they are exposed to regions where there are strict rules, Europe, right? They need GDPR to face that, and GDPR are very very strict. So it does make sense. Um, I see in the data controls there's also export data and delete account, and I am wondering whether delete account actually deletes everything. But notice that what they are providing with a caveat, right? It's like, you don't want us to keep the information, that's fine. But you won't be able to access your own information after a while,
Right.
because we're not keeping it for you,
Which
right?
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, just note they're basically telling you, look, up until now we had access to your data, right? But we're also keeping it for you. That's no longer the case, right?
Yeah, if
You
they
won't be
don't
able
keep
to
it,
get
they don't
to.
keep it. That's it. I mean,
I mean, they can keep it and not touch it, right?
eh.
And that's probably what the difference between the paid and the unpaid one is. You pay
Oh,
for
I
the
see what
storage
you
or
mean.
whatever,
So,
and
so you
we
think
don't
that
touch this,
so
right?
you think that when you pay, it is being saved, but they don't use it. It's only
Right. The
for your
fact,
use, supposedly.
right. The fact that content is on their server doesn't mean this is something we're going to look at, right?
Okay.
Isn't so,
Yeah.
so, depending on what you signed with them.
Yep. All right. All right. Good. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Ignore me for a little bit.
All right. How about I ignore you forever?
We can do that.
All right. So Microsoft Edge browser
Microsoft
appears
Edge browser. What about it? I use it every day.
appears to be sending URLs you visit to its Bing API website. Reddit
Appears
user
to. You need to approve it.
Reddit users first spotted the privacy issue with Edge last week, noticing that the latest version of Microsoft Edge sends a request to bingapis.com with the full URL of nearly every page you navigate to. Microsoft tells The Verge it's investigating the reports. Maybe it's
This
something new.
So there are two situations where this is completely legit, right? One is, the address bar acts as a search
Search. Yeah.
as well, and as you type, right, then it sends it in order to provide autocomplete. So that's one. You and I didn't see the article, so I don't know if they're talking about, okay, this is happening while this is switched off, right? But that is something that can be switched off. And there's a new one with their AI integration. There's an option there that says, okay, send the pages that I'm browsing to the AI model, so it'll have context on what you're asking it to, right? And that can be switched off as well.
I believe that if that was the case, that it's something that you can switch. That Microsoft, I mean, would have said, The Verge would have said, Microsoft said you can switch it off. But the fact that they say Microsoft is investigating, that may be a problem. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, but I mean, it might be one of these two features and a bug.
yeah,
Right?
but if you
What
put,
I'm saying is, it doesn't sound malicious. It sounds like a problem that needs to be fixed. And
yeah.
somebody will fix it.
I mean,
That's
but
what I mean.
you're right. There is no way to put a search term or anything like this in the address bar that will not go to Bing because, hey, okay, you want me to answer? Let me hear you, kind of thing. You're asking a
Well,
question. Let me hear you. Don't.
It's supposed to identify that you're asking for a URL and not send that to the search engine, right? So that's why I'm saying a bug. If
Yeah,
you
I
are
don't know.
if you are doing a copy paste for a URL, or if you're just clicking a shortcut to a URL that you saved,
Yeah,
right?
then it shouldn't.
It's not supposed to
Right.
go through the search engine API,
You're right.
right?
Absolutely.
That's what I'm thinking. I'll try to find the article and see what they're talking about. I
All right.
mean, I know Nick hates The Verge, but I usually find some of them, some of the tech articles to be on point. So
Mhm.
I'll check it out.
All right. And talking about Bing and AI and stuff like that, now it goes every web search result seen in Brave Search is now served by our own index. That's what Brave's saying. We've removed all search API calls to Bing, which previously represented about 7% of query results. So if you use Brave, I do, and you search, it was apparently getting some, like 7% of its information from Bing. Now they do their own, 100%, their own index. Interesting.
You see, you missed the sub title
Okay.
about the leaking sites
Oh,
you visit to Bing. And it's probably a good idea to disable Edge's follow creator feature until this privacy issue is fixed.
okay.
So
So you,
Edge comes with a ton of features that are either annoying or are a privacy concern. I agree on that. It's still the best Chrome solution, right? As long as you switch off all of those. Uh, so
okay. So really,
that follow creator is something that has to do with the sidebar, that it is supposed to be updated with news about the sites that you're going to and stuff like that. And so, yeah, but
why would,
as I said, it's a feature that can be switched off.
okay, why would anybody want to leave it on?
Because it provides additional context
Like,
on what you're browsing.
like what? Give me an
So
example.
you're on a YouTube video,
Yeah.
right? And you can get on the sidebar, you can get more content from that creator, not necessarily from YouTube. So it's a sort of let's mesh thing. In a way, if we were talking about the beginning of the 2000s,
Yeah.
this is one of the coolest things ever a browser can do, right? Because it expands whatever you're interested in and shows you more. If the video is about koi fish, right?
Right.
And you're watching a video about koi fish, then on the sidebar now you'll have content about koi fish from other locations, for example, or you have the encyclopedia entry, stuff like that. But because it involves with sending your behavior, right, your actions to a third party, a large third party that we know, right, that today, whenever that data is sent out, we are the product.
Mhm.
Then yes, then we would like to switch it off. um, Edge comes with built-in shopping comparing, right? Where you go to a shopping site, it shows you a price. If they identify the product that you're looking for, and they tell you, and we know of extensions and add-ons like that, right?
Right.
But this is Microsoft built into the browser, the default browser, right? And it tells you, yeah, I got a coupon for you, or there's another site that this is cheaper. It does that on all levels. So for Microsoft, it is awesome that these are there and it can be switched off. But I think they are, well, some of them are opt out and not opt in, right?
They should
The
be
moment you
opt-in.
do,
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. But most companies thinks that if you do opt in, nobody will do opt in because they don't know about it. That's the excuse, right? But they are not willing to allow users to communicate about this and recommend this one to another. Instead, they would go with opt out. And sometimes there's a few angry voices that nobody
Right.
nobody really
Yeah.
listens to,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's always with everything. It's same with
yeah,
everything else. Yeah.
exactly.
Agree. All right. Um, Windows 10.
And that's why I'm here.
Windows 10 22H2 will be the final version of the operating system, Microsoft said in a blog post on Thursday. Moving forward, all editions of Windows 10 will be supported with monthly security updates until October 14th, 2025, when Microsoft will end support. Some releases on long term servicing channels or LTSC will get updates past that end of support date. Microsoft is encouraging users to now transition to Windows 11 because Windows 10 won't be getting any new features. So they're talking about features, the big updates that we're getting like 2 a year or once a year, they said. No longer. That's it. 22H2 is the latest one. Um, just like it was with Windows 7, where they just provided Defender updates. And if there was something real serious, they would, like they did, they even provided security updates to XP. Remember, like last year, there was one that say, yeah, we got to do that. But yep, 22H2, which has been out there for a while now. What about Windows 10, Mike?
Well, as you know, I do some work for a nonprofit organization, and as a result, they don't have a lot of money. They tend to use old computers. At least most of their computers are on Windows 10.
Right,
They are computers that were originally earlier operating systems that were updated.
right.
These computers, a bunch of laptops got thrown into a corner and are taking up space. I decided to go through them one at a time, figure out which ones to keep, which ones to donate. I've already found two that are probably not worth fixing, but now I've got some more I'm getting ready to take a sledgehammer to. One of them, for example, is an HP laptop unrelated to Windows 10 that someone put a password on the BIOS, or I've heard it can do it on its own. And there are, it's just absolutely ridiculous. There's no way to crack the BIOS password on the HP laptop. And if you look at online and go to get the resources to do it, it'll say you have to replace the motherboard, you have to contact HP. All these things are way out of date. I mean, it's just nonsense. Then one guy says, "Oh, here's the crack, here's the crack," and then you read for about an hour, and then you find out where the guy who wrote it says, "Okay, I have taken this thing off the market. People are stealing my work. I'm not getting credit for it. They've hurt my feelings. If you want to buy it, here's my email address. Other than that, it's no longer available. I am filing takedown orders for anyone who posts it." And it's I mean,
Hmm.
it's just nonsense, and the BIOS needs to be updated. But the most frustrating thing I'm dealing not the most frustrating, the most current thing I'm dealing with right now, which is I think along the lines of what you were just talking about or would have gotten to, is that I have a computer, the one you can see the with lit behind me, and this computer is working fine, Windows 10. I can log in with a local user account. However, it keeps popping up asking me to log in with the Microsoft account for a prior user. I can't find any way to get rid of that Microsoft account on this computer. And this person doesn't have that Microsoft account any longer because it was with a company. Yet the computer is still syncing to OneDrive through that company. So I'm not sure where to go. I don't know how many websites, gone through probably 7 videos on how to remove your Microsoft account. None of that stuff works. Also, a lot of the help things online about Windows 10 are not valid anymore because every time there's an update, Microsoft puts another roadblock up there to keep these things from working.
How
I did.
old is that laptop?
It's an i7 with 16 gig of
I would
memory.
not worry about. You need to reinstall Windows.
But here's thank you. I was going to do that, and
Yeah.
it said, "Be aware that unless you log in with a Microsoft account, you will not be able to authenticate or activate Windows once you do
That's
the
So
baloney.
we
reinstall."
can tell you that it is incorrect. There is a
Right.
way.
Okay, well, that's why I'm
We
here.
have experience like
Yep.
of that.
Well,
So
well, that's why I'm here.
Install it without Ethernet, without wireless. You don't, when it gets to that point, first of all, it will allow you to reinstall it because the license for Windows is, it's going to see that it has license because they know.
yeah, it's embedded in the
Yeah.
hardware.
But when it gets to the point of, okay, let's connect you to the internet because you don't have anything, you need to say, I don't have internet.
Right.
And
but
it will
Amnon, remember, the latest versions, they do not show that option unless you do a couple of steps with the command line that you
Are you talking about
bring it.
11 or 12? I mean, or 10?
Windows 10, I think, as well.
I installed quite a few
Okay.
Windows 10, reinstalled, and no, it always does. Windows 11, yeah, you have to do all kind of things.
It depends on what version you're installing. If you have
Yeah,
an
I
old,
mean,
if you
he's
have an old
downloading-
version of it,
You
Yeah.
can you have to install the version that came on that machine unless you want to upgrade. So if that original machine had Windows 10 Home, it will reinstall Windows 10 Home. If it has Pro, it will reinstall Pro by default.
Yeah.
It will not allow you to change. But when you get to the point, Mike, and you need to try it since this is, I mean, you have nothing to lose here. Just reinstall Windows, go and do the what do you call it? The media
out of
media
box,
creation tool.
Yeah, I've got all that.
Yeah, and reinstall Windows, disconnect it from the internet. And if it has wireless, find a way how to
Don't.
disable wireless. Actually, no, you don't
No,
need to
just-
worry
You
about
don't
it.
have to worry about it.
Yeah, because there's no password. If you don't give it the
Yeah.
password, it won't connect. That's right.
Well, this one
And-
computer that I'm struggling with, the other one that I'm struggling with, which I've got several hours in it because it's been so long since I've had to work on computers. I'm trying to get up to date, and that's not going well. But the other one, and it says that on the authentication that if I go through the startup repair, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't work. If I go
Yeah.
to the restore, it doesn't work. None of that stuff works. And I can't log into the computer to give it a Microsoft account.
Yeah, you need to completely boot from the CD that you're going to create, or from
Ah,
uh,
glad
You
you said that, Amnon.
you can
USB.
choose. You can also choose to reinstall and keep your files.
It doesn't work
you don't
from
need
within
to.
the computer.
No, you do not. No, Spence, this is important actually. Do not do reinstall and keep your file, because that's an attempt on an upgrade. Actually tell
Right.
it,
It's going to keep. There's going to keep that.
But he
idea.
doesn't need
right.
it, Spence.
No,
Anyway,
and the moment, and yeah, but the moment you do, this is key, because Windows, I think Windows 7 introduced that, right? The moment you install fresh on an existing, as long as you do not restructure the partitions, all it's going to do is just move away the old Windows files to a windows.old folder,
Mhm.
right? And so you're never losing data today when you're reinstalling on an existing hard drive, unless you're formatting that hard drive.
And you
So,
should.
Sometimes you should, sometimes
Oh
you
yeah,
shouldn't,
I
right?
know.
But it's
In
just
in
so
Mike,
understand that
And that
it-
was my question, Mike. Do
No,
you need
no,
to
no.
keep anything that's on the machine?
I don't know. I don't know what's on the machine.
you don't.
Yeah,
Well,
so
take another hard drive and put it in
wait,
there and reinstall it.
wait. Let me say something. No, you don't need to keep anything on the machine because it belongs to somebody else. You do
Well,
not
what-
need to, because that's.
Amnon.
Yeah.
I'm part of the organization. I'm authorized to have all this data.
I understand, but somebody is going to get that machine, and they should not have that other person's files.
Yeah, they should. In this case, they should.
Oh.
And it's a long story, but
Never
everybody
mind.
has
Okay.
access to everything.
Okay.
Remove the hard drive, install on a clean drive, and then take the drive, put it in a caddy, and then you'll be able to use administrative rights to get to the files.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I get all that, and I'm probably going to
or
have to do
just
that. But
reinstall on it. The files are not going away. That's what I'm saying.
and I've seen that happen too, Gall. I'm just saying that 2 years ago, when I had to reinstall, I had a machine that had Windows 7, then I upgraded to Windows 10 and ran that for a year. I had to reinstall Windows 10. I reinstalled Windows 10 and it reinstalled perfectly. It
Yeah.
activated, no questions asked. It actually worked normally. Now it's giving you all these warnings. It's going to say you're not going to be
They're
able.
trying very hard to push their online account scheme, but on Windows 10 and Windows 11, you can do that with a local account without connecting to.
Right.
All right. Now, let me ask you the next question, because as Amnon was saying, Windows 10 is going end of life, and I'm not clear whether they're going to keep doing security updates or whether they're just not going to add any features.
No, they'll continue
until 2025. Security features are going to be upgraded.
All right. I don't own a computer that's Windows 11 compatible.
Me neither.
Yeah, I understand. The problem is the TPM. Usually the TPM is the first thing that blocks you. Start by installing Windows 10, right? You will probably be able to upgrade to Windows 11. Sometimes the requirement is to add some hardware. When it comes to TPM, there's a way around it, and there's an option to install a software-based TPM hack, or there are I haven't tried it, but there should be a USB-based TPM chip that allow you to.
There's also, for the first time I saw 3 or 4 days, I've been working on this for stuff for a month, and I mean, I'm about ready to pitch them. But one of them, somewhere online, somebody says that there is a way to use, what is the name of this, Rufus, to create a bootable medium for Windows 11 that you can tell it to bypass TPM, for example.
Yeah, you don't need Rufus for that.
No, wait a
You can do
second.
it with the media creation. After you created the USB, right? You can add some files there that, or edit some files there that basically skip that check.
Okay. Well, I don't know how to do that yet, and I'm really not at the point of doing that yet because I don't care about Windows 11. But two other quick things, and I know you're probably going to do specials, but and I mean this, and this is just not an attitude; it's a sincere question, and I'll preface the question with the fact that the company that I used to be in, we had a project that involved using scanners to check people into an event and so forth. So we bought a bunch of Chromebooks. I don't
Mhm.
think we paid $150 a piece for them. I mean, they were on sale dirt cheap.
Yep.
Worked like a champ, absolutely perfectly. The USB scanners plugged in, they were immediately recognized. You pull the button to scan the badge barcode, pops up. I mean, they were just flawless, absolutely flawless.
Mhm.
Now, I say that to say this, and I'm sincere. I really am. I'm not just showing my temper on these problems, but if a Chromebook will work for most of the applications, and then subsequently one of the partners took one and started using it as his main computer just to see if it was possible. And considering that he only used it when he was away from the office and still had access to everything at the office, he said, I can use, he said, this could be my main computer. He said, there's almost nothing now because of everything being online. He said, there's almost nothing cannot do other than maybe some of the heavy duty applications like, and I don't even know, maybe what is the big program that the graphics programs,
Photoshop.
Photoshop and some of those. I
You
mean,
can do that on
obviously,
a Chromebook as well.
yeah. I
Not
mean, and I
Photoshop.
don't know,
Yeah.
but here's my question: if Chromebook, if it's not Chromebook, it's not a Chromebook thing. It is a web thing. If
Right.
we are getting to the point that we can do enough in the cloud that we don't have to have Windows 10, Windows 11. And by the way, you didn't mention Amnon. I don't know if it was in your article, but there's now also going to be a Windows 12.
They're talking about it.
There's going to be
Yeah.
a Windows
Yeah.
12. All right. So if we're going to dump these computers and have to buy more, I'm waiting to Windows 12 is out so that they, at least when they buy them, they'll buy Windows 12 and they won't have to go through this again. Because I mean, I give a
For
lifetime
10 years.
warranty
Yeah.
for everything I do, but good gosh, I'm 69 years old. That might not be
There
6 months. But having said that, my final question on that is: are we getting to the point that some places like libraries and shared computers can get away using Linux?
Oh, for that, we are there already. Linux as a desktop for office work is already there. Where it's lacking in specific media creation aspects. It's getting there, but it's not there yet. So, yes, I can tell you. I mean, I work for a software development company, so uh, uh, the requirements are not high end. Uh, Local work, mostly it's code and coding and stuff like that. But working with Linux full time with the Google as the provider of the Office suite, right? It's it's flawless. It's there's nothing blocking us because we're working in a Linux environment. So um, for office work, if that's what you're into, even if you're talking about some medium, very rudimentary media management, as long as you're not tied to Adobe, because Adobe doesn't have a Linux suite, um, you're fine, right?
there's
You can
only
work.
one problem, and we talked about it in a past show, that Chromebooks don't last but a few years. And that's how they designed them. There are now schools that are saying that all these kids that got their Chromebooks during the pandemic, those machines are not usable these days. They are just creating trash in because there's nothing you can do. You can't upgrade it, and it will not do what you need it to do. So a lot of people, and remember, Katie, when you had that Chromebook that
Yeah.
you brought here, and I mean, it was a perfectly good Chromebook, but you could not do anything with it.
I'm experiencing that right now because 2 years ago, I bought a new Chromebook, and the thing about it is it still does what it needs to do, and I use it mostly to watch stuff, um, but it's so slow now, like, it keeps disconnecting from the Wi-Fi, it keeps having to reboot, and it gets to the point where that's really frustrating, and then I'll buy a new Chromebook, and the questions what because when I was looking at getting a laptop versus getting the Chromebook, I only wanted it as a streaming machine, basically a Roku that I could carry around with me because it has access to the Wi-Fi, and that's the main reason why I
Mhm.
got it. And and I still like that versus a computer because it's still fast on the internet. And what I mean by that is like when I open up a laptop, I have to log in, I've got to click that, blah, blah, blah. With a Chromebook, I just open it and it's like boom, there. So it's like as easy as using a Roku. But I do notice that it slows down quite a bit. Now, when I replace this, I'll probably replace it in maybe a year or two, and I'm still gonna buy a Chromebook because they have sales all the time, and I could probably get one for like, I got mine for $100, and this one was worth $300, and I got it on sale for, like, 130 or 150 or something. Um, so I I'm gonna keep buying Chromebooks just for
And
my purpose
and the
as a
ones that
Yeah.
we bought were made by Asus, and just to look at them and touch them, they feel as robust as just any other regular laptop. And I mean, I know they're made cheap. They're intended to be. That's their purpose. But as cheap as I am, I mean, if let's just assume that I were using a one like Katie's talking about for 130 bucks and did the job, I'd be willing to throw it in the trash every 2 years if it lasts
Yep,
that long.
Okay,
yeah,
well, as long as you're aware.
yeah,
Absolutely. That's
But
what
Yeah,
Katie
and
does.
I mean, part of the design, right, is yes, you throw it away and you buy new hardware because there's nothing on it. Everything is off that book. That book is just an access point.
all they
So,
really are is inexpensive iPads with a keyboard.
yep. That's why I call them like my Roku, my traveling Roku
Yeah. And then
with the
and
screen.
it just was stunning how well it worked in this application. I lied. I do have have one other quick question. I don't know whether you guys might know about this, but at this same location, they use AT&T fiber for the internet. They use the BGW30 whatever it is router that they provide that has Wi-Fi 6 on it. Quite often, people will go in, they can't log into the Wi-Fi. And the only thing that I can, because if I reboot the router, they then can log in. It seems to me the problem is that the lease times on because there can be easily 256 people trying to log into it over a week's time. Seems to me that the lease time is too long, and I can't figure out how to shorten it. And of course, AT&T is no help. Any thoughts?
mm,
Don't know.
I
they're
thought about
looking
getting
at
a
the
wireless
interface.
access point that actually has that stuff controllable and just adding it
It's
to
I'm
it.
sure it's controllable in there, but it may be behind a password. So
I got
part
the password, so
no,
that's
no,
okay.
part of the router that they give you is open to you, and part of it is only open to them.
No, I get that, but then
Which,
that's actually 3 levels, not 2 levels, because you
yeah,
can
it's
Oh,
log in
three.
and do some things
Yeah.
without the password, and then with the password, you can get into the port forwarding and those
okay.
sorts of things.
Is
And
this,
but
did you say this was AT&T?
yes,
Yeah, I have that same router and I'm happy with the stuff I've been able to access.
yeah,
Yeah,
but you
but
don't have
he's
250
talking
people at your
right.
house
No, I
causing
know that.
problems,
Yeah.
But
I don't
so
think.
far it's been, I actually have it in conjunction with a TP link on the other side of my house. You know, you got the AT&T.
Um,
I
yeah,
have
but
everything. I have it in AP mode, the TP link. So I just use it as and I
Gal,
have,
you were saying?
yeah, Mike, to your point, 256, that's only if you're using a 24-bit subnet. Use a larger subnet.
You're over my head.
So you're using 192.168 something something,
Yes,
right? And that means that you are and you're using a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0.
correct.
You can use instead a 10 dot something 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 network with 255.0.0.0 subnet. That will allow you, in terms of the DHCP leases, to have more than 256 leases.
I may call you later.
Yeah. So
Uh,
that is for sure accessible for you. That is accessible
To
on any
anybody.
level.
Yeah.
but I've
Yeah.
seen all the specs on routers. They say it's good for up to 250, 255 simultaneous users. So
Yeah, that's fine. you're still going to have those number of users in terms of bandwidth and the number of channels that can be used and hopped around and all that, because you do not have more than 256 simultaneous users, but you are going to have more than 256 different devices in a week, right?
Mhm.
That's what you're saying. So you're depleting the IP pool, but not depleting the bandwidth requirement. So let's give it more IPs.
Well, I'm going to look at that. I haven't looked at it in a couple of months, but I'm going to look at it again. And once again, Spence, if you look at yours and you find a setting for lease time, let me know, because I've looked for it, and we've actually, it's gotten to the point, and I'm a volunteer, so I'm not available all the time to run over there every time something happens. But it's gotten to the point now that since we're paying for it, when they can't log in, I have them unplug the router and plug it back in. And then at some point, it got really old, and they just thought it was me not knowing anything. So I said, "Okay, call AT&T. We're paying for it." And they called AT&T, and they did something. All of a sudden, it starts working, and a week later, it doesn't work again.
Yeah, I solved one problem with router with a simple $10 timer.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In
In the
fact,
middle
I've
of
got
the
one. I
night,
think I'll build one.
turn it off, and if you buy the digital timers, not
I
the
have 'em.
mechanical, you can turn it off for like 10 seconds and bring it back up. And
You know
that's
what,
it.
Amnon? That's brilliant. That's surprising coming from you. I'm going to actually do that.
All right, and as far as machines and licenses and Windows, listen to this article. In early April, with the start of previews for Windows Frontline, a service that provides a single license for frontline employees to use up to 3 cloud PCs, Microsoft floated the idea that businesses should buy fewer PCs. That's coming from the Register. The Frontline name hints at its purpose. Microsoft thinks this license will benefit organizations that employ shift workers in roles like customer support for healthcare. Microsoft imagines shift workers will log on for 8 hours. Then the next worker on duty will do likewise, and advances this as a fairer way to charge than assuming cloud PCs are used 24/7. To burnish that argument, Microsoft launched material for Windows Frontline, included research by tech sustainability consultancy PX3 that tries to answer the question, can modern work applications and endpoints abate end-user computing greenhouse gas emissions and drive climate action, blah, blah, blah. The
Yeah, I
answer
was-
is yes, when one considers cloudy PCs to be modern endpoint. So you don't need to get if you have a shift and you have 10 people, you don't, in every shift, you don't need 30 PCs. Just use these quote unquote cloud PCs. Now, it's not for everybody, but you can do that with when you work at a company. That's very, very interesting. That's like
Yeah,
having
Amazon
a
is doing that for the past 5, maybe 7 years
Yeah.
already. It's called Workspaces, and it's called a VMD, a virtual VDI, virtual desktop environment, right? So instance,
You log
virtual
into-
desktop instance.
You use that anybody's laptop and you log in to your account, to your cloud PC, and suddenly it's your desktop, your files. That's all you see. So that's great. Absolutely.
I was interested that you mentioned greenhouse gases. and
Well,
I'm
that's the
just-
article.
no,
I didn't
but
mention. Hey, I did.
no, I'm saying, but that I was going to make a point about all this planned obsolescence of computer hardware,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
and that we already do a really bad job of recycling this stuff, right?
Yeah.
They're not recovering nearly what's possible because it's not economically feasible, right?
Mhm.
So we're just creating more stuff to go into landfills. And where is there, nobody's criticizing Microsoft for doing this because they're making so many machines obsolete that could potentially be used.
Well, that's different.
but
Spence.
they're-
You knew better.
What's that?
It's different.
It's different. Yeah, they're exempt. But Mike, I found the settings in the router. You just have to go in, and there on the router itself, there'll be a sticker that tells you what the advanced configuration password is. So you'll go
That real
into
long, ugly password printed.
no, it's not bad. It's not bad. I changed mine to my own password. You can change the password, but it's just the administrative rights. It
Yeah, I have that.
elevates you. So you go into home network, subnets, and DHCP. And under IP4, it shows you your
lease time.
IP. No, first is the IP address of the router. Then it will tell you the subnet mask. This is where you'd want to change it to 255.0.0.0. But in this case, it's 192. You can change it to 10, like Gall said. The DHCP server settings have DHCP lease in days, hours, minutes, seconds. You can change.
So take a look at it when you.
I will.
It's all there.
If I could reduce it to 24 hours, it wouldn't bother me. I don't care how many times they have to log in. It's also not a bad idea.
Yeah.
So I'll try that, and I don't know why AT&T didn't bother, but
I mean, if
probably rather do that.
Gal, correct me if I'm wrong. If the lease is only an hour, the user never knows what's going on, because the minute you go past an hour and you make another request, like you go on a website or you do something, it automatically renews, right?
The IP will renew, but it might disconnect. So I really do not know of what is the importance of keeping a session live, right, over an hour. In certain settings, it might be okay. Now, if there are a lot of users that are using it simultaneously, this might overload the router, right? CPU of the router is very low, RAM is very low. So you need to find the balance. What is the balance? I don't know. It might be 6 hours. It might be 24 hours. You just need to find the balance.
All right. Good. Very, very good. Very, very good. All right. Who's using a Ryzen processor other than Nick?
I think I might be using one.
This is very interesting. Over the weekend, users on Reddit and YouTube began posting about problems with AMD's newest Ryzen 7000 X3D. In some cases, the system simply stopped booting, but in at least one instance, a Ryzen 7800 X3D became physically deformed, bulging out underneath and bending the pins on the motherboard's processor socket.
Oh, it's the magic smoke. It wanted to go out.
It was just expanding its horizons. What are you talking about?
In a separate post, motherboard maker MSI indicated that the damage may have been caused by abnormal voltage issues. Ryzen 700 X3D processors already impose limits on overclocking and power settings, but new BIOS updates from MSI specifically disallow any kind of overvolting features that could give the CPUs more power than they were built to handle. So I guess you overclock it, but giving it more volts. I mean, more probably fraction of.
I never understood overclocking. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
well,
I mean, I know why people do it. I
yeah.
never understood the
Back
need.
then, it was important. I mean, when you had two megabits or whatever, two
I mean,
megabyte and 4 megabyte, or yeah, any little bit
that's not
would.
that's not even the part that I don't understand. I don't understand a machine shipped with a BIOS allowing overclocking, right?
Oh,
That whole idea
yeah,
is like, I wanted a machine that can work. I can understand underclocking. I can understand, make it slower, make it consume less power.
right.
Okay. I cannot understand
Last
of,
longer too.
I am selling you at this level, you can take it to this level. Sell it at that level then. Like, what you're telling me that I can do something that is going to damage my machine, right? Because you are saying you will not have any warranty if you overclock, and then you sell it to me with overclocking, right?
Mhm.
And I'm guessing the Ryzens that were physically deformed, they weren't properly by the book overclocked, right? Somebody, as they said, they added a lot of limitations and a lot of stuff, right, to prevent that from happening. And these people found another way, and oh, it ruined my machine.
Yeah,
It's like, that's
you
what I
would.
don't understand. That's the part that I never understood.
They said that you can still undervolt your CPU to attempt to reduce temperatures and energy usage by giving the CPU a bit less power than it was designed for. The Ryzen 7000X3D processors are set to a lower voltage than regular Ryzen 7000 CPUs by default because the extra level 3 cache layered on top of the processor die can raise temperatures and make the CPU more difficult to cool. This has also made the chips much more power efficient than the standard Ryzen chips, but that efficiency comes at a cost of overclocking settings and other features that come. Some enthusiasts, see, that's the enthusiasts used to squeeze more performance out of their PC. I mean, that's what, I don't know that it's something that you could see, but it was like, hey, I overclocked mine. It works faster. Well,
Yeah,
what can you show me? I can't show you anything, but it's working faster. So yeah,
they can measure that it's working faster. What does it mean? It never. I always felt it never meant
yeah,
anything. I mean, I've never seen overclocking other than for gamers talking about frames per second,
right.
right? Which is, I get your need, right? It's just a function that doesn't enter my world at all. And it also means that you bought a very expensive machine and you're now burning it. You're burning through that machine a lot faster.
Literally.
Yeah, yeah, I know. So it's like you paid a lot and now you're putting it at risk faster, right? And that always rubbed me the wrong way.
Uh,
But there's another aspect is, okay, so other than that, does it do any good? What do you get faster? I don't think it ever rendered any 3D stuff faster. I don't think it's like, on the large scheme of things, it never meant anything.
I had
So
a friend
what
that
do you
was
mean the
obsessed with
lot?
overclocking,
yeah,
and they
It's
just
bragging. It's
yeah,
bragging rights.
they would have
Oh
competitions
yeah,
with other
that's more
people.
like it.
and that's how it felt to me as well. And I understand the technology. It's not like I'm I understand what they're trying to achieve. It's just the effort and the work, the return on the effort, right? It never made any sense to me.
It's also
Never.
expensive because the thing that I saw is that they were using liquid nitrogen to cool down their computer while they
Right.
were overclocking it, and I'm like, I guess to each their
Right. You
own.
need to extra cool it. You need to it's like, it's never about, and what do you get? You get it 2% faster.
Maybe.
So
It's bragging rights. Look what I
I
did.
feel,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel that's part of it. Yeah.
Still going to be limited by the speed of the motherboard.
The bus.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's what I found, Amnon. So you inspired me.
What did you find?
Easy dial. Oh, for the
So
sprinkler,
it's
for
a
those. Yeah.
It's actually it's designed to control 24-volt AC relays. It is a water a yard timer for your sprinkler systems. It is crystal DC. It's crystal controlled. I mean, digitally controlled. I use these to build a timer for a radio station to do a network join, and it was within a second every hour. And they just thought I was the smartest person in the world. I didn't tell them I got this thing on closeout at Lowe's for $15. You can buy them. You can buy them for radio stations for a couple of hundred.
You didn't hook up the rain sensor to automatically delay?
I didn't have time.
Yeah.
I just was looking up in the background here whether my FX motherboard, it's an Asus motherboard, supports TPM. And it does. It has a socket. And the question was,
Usually it's a header.
A header, yeah. So it's got the header. And but the person said, I don't see it in BIOS. And the question was answered to say, when you install the hardware, it will show up in
Yeah.
BIOS to configure.
That's right.
So I might be able to use, now my processors probably were not supported. But if I have the TPM, I can probably get around the processor part of it. Install Windows 11. I'm going to go out and I'm going to see if I can find a module and see what I can do with this.
what I don't get about the requirement for TPM is, okay, you want to be able to secure data with Windows 11, but what if whoever runs it doesn't care about securing the data? Why not? Why make that mandatory?
I think that's what's going to happen with Windows 11. At some point, they're going to relax it because supposedly the Microsoft has already secretly done that in many cases, and that it will now install on more systems than it did previously. As I saw it, the instances of Windows 10 are about 73%, and it's less than 27% that are Windows 11 at this point in time.
Think about how happy the manufacturers were about this because they got to refresh everything and force people to buy it.
I don't know if they're making any money.
Yeah, true. The prices have, I mean, for a while, prices went insane, and now you see laptop prices. It's interesting how laptops are now cheaper than desktops.
Oh.
Now, there's one other thing here too. Then I'm gonna get off here and let you guys get back to the good stuff. But do you sorry about the throat. Do you realize that with OneDrive and all these Microsoft accounts to log in, Microsoft has access to everything on your hard drive?
Uninstall OneDrive.
I'm just telling you, for the average user, Microsoft has access to everything.
What's
true.
insidious about it is, especially with Windows 11, is you are automatically set up in the machine for your file system that everything goes to OneDrive.
Right.
And you have to go, and even if you want to remove, like I uninstalled OneDrive, it's on my Windows 11 machine because I didn't realize I was saving things to OneDrive, which I don't use. And so I uninstalled OneDrive, but the file system is still set up so that when you open it, when you go to save something in Word, it tries to put it into OneDrive first. And you can't get rid of it unless you make a registry change.
Well, the way to do it is when you install Windows or when you get a new computer, it doesn't have anything on it. That's when you should uninstall it.
But it's still
No, if it's
still, the
fresh
file structure is still set up. It uses aliases. So even now, mine still says I'm saving it to OneDrive/documents, even though OneDrive isn't installed.
On your hard drive.
I can't change it unless I change the registry.
if you are doing it to a computer that's you're already working with OneDrive, it's a pain in the butt to undo. You have to go to a bunch of steps to cancel it or to take it out.
I just now ignore it because
yeah.
it's an alias. That's all it is It doesn't mean anything anymore. It does put it into the right folder. It just, everything has a header of OneDrive on it.
The thing that drives me nuts is there's two desktops for some stupid reason.
Yeah, that's true too. I was always wondering, Gal, do you have any idea?
What do you mean?
You know, if you look on the status line bar, there are two. There's desktop, and there are two desktops.
You're talking about the virtual desktop?
Well, whatever. It shows two desktops. What is it
No, it's
for?
actually
Desktop
two
one and new
different places
desktop.
on your hard drive. If you save it to the desktop, then you go to your desktop. If you saved it to the wrong one, it won't be there. You have to go through File Explorer and find the other desktop.
No, I think what Mike is talking about is there is the global desktop and there is the user desktop, right? That's what you're talking about?
I
Like
have
the
no idea. When you go to File Explorer, it says desktop. And if you get in a hurry and save it to the desktop, then you go there to grab it. You put it there so you can grab it quickly, knowing you're going to delete it after you use it. And then you go there and it's not there. So I actually now have a second
yeah.
icon on my desktop to click on it to go to the second desktop. I have no idea where it is.
So uh it, I it, what you're describing, Mike, Windows, because it's a multi-user OS, right? It has a design where there's some stuff that are global, that are for all users, and some stuff that is specifically locally for the user. So
And
if you
public.
drag and drop, that's it. Yeah. So if you drag and drop something to your desktop, by default it goes to your user desktop. But that means it will only be visible to the user logged in. So if you log out on that same machine and you log into another machine, right, that default desktop doesn't have it. So, and that's fine. You usually do
Oh,
not
okay.
interact with it because everything is where you basically left it, and you're not moving away. If it's a machine that you log off and log in with different users, then that's where this can become a problem.
So
I don't want that.
I'm in my file system now, and I went to
Yeah.
local drive C, and I see users, and I see my user in my desktop, right? Where
Right.
is the other desktop? It's not in
It's
the
in
root.
it's
in
in
C
app
root.
app data
App data?
on the
Okay.
root. Yeah.
All right.
You can easily access it by right clicking the start menu and where was it?
Show desktop?
No. Um, well, I need to find it in Windows 11 because I haven't done it in Windows 11 for ages.
And they're changing stuff too, guys. I mean,
Oh, they're changing things stuff
all
all
the
the time.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things aren't where you think they are. And I just think they're getting too complex for the home user.
Yeah, but Mike, I mean, everything you're going to use is changing all the time
I
anyway.
get that.
If I mean, the Microsoft, the way they abuse their users is nothing compared to what Apple is doing when they make changes to
Oh,
their
yes.
OS. So it's like
I,
Microsoft are very, very conservative in the way they change
I
things.
can testify that Apple has made me lose my mind at times because of changing the way, oh, we decided to change where this app is or how this works.
Yeah.
Or now your Microsoft, not your Microsoft, your Apple ID and how that works um, with your cloud storage and just trying to sync and oh, it's just
You know
Completely.
what, guys? I hate Apple. I
I-
respect them for what they do with video editing and certain things. They own that market in many ways. I get that and I respect them. But I will tell you, and then I'm gonna really get off here. I accidentally I opened a picture on my iPhone, and I do prefer the iPhone over all the rest. I opened a picture on my iPhone. I was trying to do a like or a love or something like that. I held my finger on the picture too long, and it cut out the outline of the person of my granddaughter there. And I said, I wonder how well this looks. So I then copied it and pasted it into a separate document. And guys, it was perfect. Absolutely perfect. I mean, these guys, they're brilliant.
yeah. but they're assholes.
Well, I get that, but so Microsoft too. I mean, they're buying up all the land that's got water on it, so you're gonna have to pay Bill Gates to drink water.
Yeah, it's the development silos that drive you crazy. You've
All
got
right.
the office group at Microsoft, you've got the network group at Microsoft, you've got the cloud group at Microsoft, and they once a year they meet together to discuss interaction.
No,
That's what
diversity.
it seems like.
They
Yeah,
get
no,
together
no,
to talk about
DEI.
diversity.
They have a weekly DEI meeting, but they don't talk about functions.
All right, guys, thanks for letting me on. I'm gonna get out of your way, and I appreciate all the input.
All right, Mike.
Yep,
Good
see ya.
luck.
Yeah, thanks.
Talking about Microsoft. Microsoft will no longer manufacture mice, keyboards, and webcams that are Microsoft branded.
No.
Instead, Microsoft is now
They'll
focused.
brand it.
Yeah, branded.
Instead, they'll brand it something else.
Microsoft is now focusing on its Surface branded PC accessories,
Yeah, exactly.
which include mice, keyboards, pens, and more. It brings an end to the legacy of Microsoft branded PC hardware after the company launched its first mouse in 1983 and bundled it with Microsoft Word and Notepad. What?
Let me guess. The next step, right? They're no longer going to be called Microsoft. They're going to be called Macrosoft. And Microsoft is just going to be a division of Microsoft.
I like Macrosoft.
What was the
Going-
parody?
Huh?
The parody site was Micro Squish.
Oh,
Go-
I didn't know that.
Going forward, we are focusing on our Windows PC accessories portfolio under the Surface brand, said Senior Communications Manager at Microsoft in a statement to The Verge. We will continue to offer a range of Surface branded PC accessories, including mice, keyboards, pens, docks, adaptive accessories, and more. Existing Microsoft branded PC accessories like mice, keyboards, and webcams will continue to be sold in existing markets at existing selling prices while supplies last. I think there's going to be a run on Microsoft stuff. It's going to be a collector's item.
Trust me, there's not.
This was said in tongue in cheek.
Yeah. Now this is like
Good
it's-
riddance.
yeah. So it's no. I mean, it's the title is they're no longer going to manufacture, right? Which means basically is we are actually expanding the range of hardware we're going to
Yep.
provide. It's just not going to be branded Microsoft. Oh yeah.
All right, for our Canadian audience, SpaceX and Rogers Communications struck a deal for satellite phone service in Canada. A bid to bring emergency service to remote areas of the vast country that can't be reached through conventional wireless networks. The companies will use SpaceX Starlink low Earth orbit satellites and begin with text service before adding voice and data coverage later. It didn't give a launch date for the new service. In the future, these investments will deliver wireless connectivity, including access to 911, to even the most remote areas. Staffieri, who's the chief executive officer, was due to speak about the arrangements during his speech at the company's annual meeting on Wednesday. So that's pretty good. I wonder how much it's going to cost a minute.
I mean, this is the same Rogers, right? That they just shut down the internet
Yep,
every once in a while.
exactly.
So.
Yep. It's the same Rogers. But I mean, it's good. It's a step forward. If it's done right.
Everything about expanding the reach of this little IP network that everybody's using
Uh-huh.
is always a good thing. I
Right.
agree.
Absolutely. All right. We talked about the fact that Netflix is going to bring the no share passwords to the States this quarter. But listen to this. Netflix lost more than 1 million users in Spain in the first 3 months of 2023, according to market research group Kantar. A sign that the streaming giant crackdown on password sharing could backfire. In early February, Spain became one of Netflix's first markets to introduce a monthly fee for users who share their login details with another household and technical measures to detect such sharing. The move was linked to a fall in users of more than 1 million, 2/3 of whom were using someone else's password,
It's a lot of
which
people.
is based on surveys of household streaming habits. The story went on to say that, yeah, that may be that they didn't lose many subscribers, but the talk is going to do them a lot of damage now.
Yep.
So we'll have to wait and see
So
what happens here.
they said the drop. There were two numbers there: 1 million and 100 million.
No, they said that 1 million users. There's no 100 million.
Okay, I somehow heard like a huge number, and it didn't make sense.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, there's
so a
no.
million subscribers
Yeah.
dropped in Spain.
Yeah, they lost 1 million.
Spain is 47 million people.
That's a big chunk.
Yeah, that's a
There,
huge.
yeah. So yeah,
Netflix
And
has to be careful because there's other competitors now. So people could be like, okay, I don't need to have Netflix right now. I can jump over to something else
yep.
to offer the same thing. And then they only need to come back to Netflix when a show comes out that they like or something.
yeah. I mean, the reason people are probably dropping, right, is okay. Whoever they're sharing the password with, right, they're probably also sharing the password for other services, right?
True.
Exactly. Exactly.
So if they can pay less for content, I mean, it goes to the entire point that Netflix needs to remember that while for them is their bread and butter and what pays for the living of all of Netflix employees. I'm not even talking about the profits for investors, right? I'm just talking about this is what you do. For everybody else, this is entertainment. This can be shut off. We can live without it, right? And we won't be worse or better for it. It doesn't really matter in the large scheme of things. Is it important that we have entertainment? Yes, but we can get it elsewhere,
Right.
right? And so, why are you treating this, right, as this is a numbers game that needs to be squeezed to the limit? Find a way of how to expand your reach instead of how to alienate, right, anyone who's willing to pay you the buck to see it. What you're asking for, it's not worth it. And that's what the people are saying, basically, right, by disconnecting.
You woke us up, they say. Thanks for
Yeah,
letting us know. Thanks
yeah.
for letting us think. Yeah.
But I mean, the sad thing is, the reality is that we're going to see it more, right?
Of course.
Because in a way, they'll also spin it that they were expecting a drop at first, right? And the drop wasn't as high as they wanted. And so analysts will like it. And then you'll see it happen on Disney and you'll see it happen on HBO Max and you'll see it, right? I just hope that, let's put it this way, there is one thing I'm sure that is going to grow, and that's piracy.
That's exactly what I was gonna think about. Like, the people are gonna upload full episodes of stuff back on YouTube in Daily Motion because that's what I used to watch stuff on
They
there.
still do it, right?
Yeah.
It'll just grow because the demand for it will grow.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Here's something else, and I'm not exactly understanding what's the big deal here. WhatsApp users are no longer restricted to using their account on just a single phone.
Oh, that is a big
Today,
deal.
the Meta owned messaging service is announcing that its multi device feature, which previously allowed you to so it was then,
No.
allowed you to access and send messages from additional Android tablets, browsers, or computers alongside your primary phone, is expanding to support additional smartphones.
This is a
So,
big deal.
explain.
So, up until now, WhatsApp was always connected to a specific phone number, and only one device was
Oh,
able
yeah.
to authenticate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now they're saying you want to run this phone, you want to be able to communicate on this phone number from another phone, not a problem. That's what they're saying. What they were talking about previously available is you could connect as a linked device, you could connect a tablet or you could connect a web browser that will allow you access to your WhatsApp messages, which made it very, very convenient. But you couldn't do it from another phone. So now, theoretically, me and my wife, right,
Can
we can utilize a single WhatsApp account, or an office, right, could utilize a single WhatsApp account for customer service, for example, on phones. They won't need anything elaborate for that. So, yeah, I think
so why are
it's
they
a long time
saying
coming. It's
so
a good
why are
thing.
they saying previously allowed you to access and send messages from additional Android
Tablets,
browsers, or
something that doesn't
computers?
have a phone line.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
you
that's
would
right.
connect
That's
it as
right.
an
Yeah.
additional
Yep. Yep.
device,
Yep. Yep.
but
Yep. Yep.
another phone, you couldn't do that. You couldn't do it. You couldn't even run it in a browser on another
Right.
phone.
Right.
So, yeah,
Interesting.
this is good news. I'm trying. I mean, one thing I do not really understand when it comes to WhatsApp is how Meta is making money out of it. And so this is either a way. I'm
They-
trying to find the spin here,
They're
right? Because,
collecting data.
well, they have always been collecting metadata, right?
Yeah. Well,
That's no longer a secret or no longer unknown.
right.
What I'm not understanding is what if they are benefiting anything, or maybe it's just they are seeing that they have reached some sort of limit, and other platforms do allow this. I don't think there's any other platform other than Signal that that is blocked this way. I mean, even iMessage, right? You can theoretically connect to machines to work with the same number. Uh, uh, so yeah, this is interesting. By the way, I finally am using iMessage
On your Android.
on my PC and Android. I created an iMessage account,
Wh-
an Apple
okay.
ID account.
And
I
why?
connected it to Beeper because it is going to be easier to communicate with people who have iPhones. SMS text is something that I do not use at all because I use voice. So this way, with Apple users at least, my communication at least will be centralized in Beeper. So really like that.
Hmm.
Set it up in Beeper, and it was easy. There was a problem. I reached out to support. They solved it, and like after that solved, the connection works. And yeah, so if you have an Android, or you're a non-Apple user, you do not have any Apple devices, you can still communicate with iMessage through beeper.com. You'll need to register with them and download their app, their Windows app, and connect. But I highly recommend it. It's all of
Yeah,
my
there
communication
was a good
centralized.
story about Beeper, and I guess I didn't save it.
Yeah, they did some major overall. I think you did mention it a couple of weeks ago that they are stopping. Um, they're no longer a paid only service. They're going to have a free tier.
Oh,
That's
no, 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 no. That wasn't it. There was a story about data collection and how
Mhm.
bad it is, and they were saying that services like Beeper that is
Okay.
actually getting uh, multiple platforms into their service is a problem. Is a problem for the users because
It's a problem when you think about the opportunity of leakage,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Beeper specifically is an interesting solution because they are running completely open source
right,
stuff. Theoretically, you can go to their repos. I'm guessing it might what's public. Might not be the latest versions or something like that, but you can go to their repos. You can download and you can host your own version of it. It's just very complex. It's a very complex set of uh, um, it's a very complex DevOps project because it requires a lot of moving parts. Uh, when you connect to something like iMessage, they actually spin up a VM that works for that emulates an iOS device, right? That connects to the iMessage platform for you. So and that's true for let's say Signal, or they spin up uh, component, right, that does that specifically for your account. What's interesting about the way they do it is it's completely encrypted. They need your approval to access that data,
right,
right? So theoretically, right, and because they started as a pay company, and I in a way I hope they'll stay that way. It's just it was a bit steep for me at the beginning. Uh, I see the benefit of continuing using them, even if they start charging the $10 a month from me. It has changed the way I communicate. I am more effective. I am less connected than I was before, even though I'm more reachable through all of these platforms. I do not. I no longer need to waste my time in order to communicate with people. And I like it. I really like what they did, and I like the support level they're providing, which is unparalleled for. So I really root for them. Uh, if they turn up bad, yeah, we'll throw them out the door. But it doesn't seem that way. It seems like they are in a good place.
well,
Yeah, I'll talk with them
huh,
again. We should get them on the show. Get
yeah, we
somebody from
should.
there on the show.
Okay, bleeping computers warned last week about compromised websites that display fake Google Chrome automatic update errors that distribute malware to unaware visitors. The campaign has been underway since November 22nd, 2022, and according to NTT's security analyst, is it shifted up a gear after February 2023, expanding its targeting scope to cover users who speak Japanese, Korean, and Spanish. Bleeping Computer has found numerous sites hacked in this malware distribution campaign, including adult sites, blogs, news sites, and online stores. If a targeted visitor browses the site, the scripts will display a fake Google Chrome error screen stating that an automatic update that is required to continue browsing the site failed to install. An error occurred in Chrome automatic update. Please install the update package manually later, or wait for the next automatic update, reads the fake Chrome error message. The scripts will then automatically download a zip file called release.zip that is disguised as a Chrome update the user should install.
Yeah.
Again,
Not only that, it does include a Chrome updater, and it goes and installs in place of the Chrome updater. So whenever
it updates again in the future.
whenever the updater is going to be triggered,
Right.
it is always going to be active. And
Right.
it seems like they are shipping a Monero miner with it. So Monero is a cryptocurrency that does not require CPU to mine. So a GPU to mine. So it can work on regular CPUs. So yeah.
What?
They are targeting, and it's interesting. They're inviting you. They're not telling you you must, right? It's like
Yeah.
you are recommended.
Then it can't
yeah.
be bad if they're asking
It's like,
politely.
yeah, it's like in Hebrew we call it shitat matzliach, which means the I tried method. They're inviting you. You might do it, you might not. Whoever does it, it's enough. It's like
No worries.
Look,
Take your time.
look at this. I don't know if you guys heard the beep, 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 beep when I was talking. That's
No.
my tone for WhatsApp.
Okay.
I got a message from WhatsApp from a phone number. This is to inform you that your phone number has won a prize of 10.2 million euros
Whoa.
from WhatsApp awareness lottery promo. Somebody, I think you think somebody's listening and sending this because we're
I
talking
don't
about
know,
WhatsApp.
Nanda, you better share some of that 10 million.
Please reach us on the underlisted contacts, and they give you phone numbers.
You know who your good friend. You know who your good friends are, right, Amnon?
Yeah, right.
You just need to give them your social security number because you should for $10 million.
Yeah,
You need a bank account with your password.
right. So this is what you do. You block them, and it's gone.
I love the latest telephone scam where they call and say, this is the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, and a box containing drugs with your address on it was intercepted at the border.
Oh,
Please call to straighten this out. Oh, and
Yeah.
when the guy
Notice that
speaks
all
with a
of these
thick Indian
scams-
accent, you wonder, Border Patrol? What border? Is it
But-
India?
But you know that message just came in encrypted, point to point, end to end encrypted.
of
Really?
course.
Of course.
Well,
Well, everything is end-to-end encrypted
Yeah,
in that
right.
in WhatsApp. So yeah.
All right, let's see. Google on Wednesday said it obtained a temporary court order in the US to disrupt the distribution of Windows based information stealing malware called CryptBot and decelerates its growth. The tech giants Mike Trin and Pierre Marc Bureau said that efforts are part of steps to take to not only hold criminal operators of malware accountable, but also those who profit from its distribution. Says that CryptBot is estimated to have infected over 670,000 computers in 2022 with a goal of stealing sensitive data such as authentication credentials, social media account logins, and cryptocurrency wallets from users of Google Chrome. So this has to do with Chrome again. again, we can't say it enough. A lot of people say, I don't need anti-malware. I don't need antivirus. I don't need anti-this. I don't care. I go wherever I want to go. Well, that's
I
not
would
the
say,
way to be safe. What?
I would say, not a problem, as long as the only places you go are always the same, right? And and you have 100% control about how they update, right? Because sometimes even, I mean, we've seen it in the past, right? Sometimes even a bank's website gets hacked
Right.
and suddenly you're hacked, right?
Right.
So uh, I agree. One of the things that I would recommend, though, right, is stop using Chrome. Chrome is the most popular browser, right? And that makes it number one attack vector,
Yep. Absolutely.
right? So yeah, use something a bit more obscure. Right now, Edge is the best Chrome, right? If you really like, go with Brave. Go, they will have their own problems. It's just the the amount of trouble that you are going to be exposed to using them is usually going to be less than the one that is targeted most of the time, right?
It's just like the
So
password vault.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Don't use the number one password vault
Right.
that everybody else is using, because it's just going to put you more at risk.
Yep. Yep. Um, I want to tell you something about what happened with Amazon and me. Last month, I got statement from Prime Card. They Amazon has Prime Card and
Yeah,
they have a Store Card. It's two different
yeah.
cards, two different banks, and we don't use Prime Card much. And there was $148 whatever charge on it. So I asked Kathy if she did something because she's the one that uses it when she goes to Whole Foods. She said no. I couldn't understand what it says. It was very cryptic on the statement. So I called Amazon and I asked them, and they said, "Oh, this is for your yearly dues, the subscription to Prime." I said, "Really?
Okay.
I already paid it on my store card 2 months ago." So she asked me for the number and said, "Yeah, I see that. Okay, this must have been a mistake."
But does she see the statement at all?
They don't see the statement because that's a bank. That's completely different. But she saw that I already paid it. She saw that my dues were paid back in February or January. So she said, "Okay, so this is a mistake. We'll give you credit." I said, "So do I need to pay it and then you give me credit or what?" She said, "No, don't worry about it." So I wrote mistake on the statement and put it up on the shelf. This month, I got again the store card statement, and I'm going to enter it into QuickBooks and hold it. And I see the first thing is credit 149.08.
Right, because it was pulled in the statement before, so you need
Oh,
to
wait,
get it back, no?
wait. Now, I was trying to find out what it is. And then I realized, oh, they must have given me credit for what they charged the Prime card onto the store card,
Okay.
which means that I was supposed to pay the Prime card, and now I am late paying it because they told me not to pay it. If they give me the credit onto this card, that means they expected it. So I called,
Yeah.
and she said that you need to call the bank, what they call. So
Yeah.
I called the credit card company, both of them. And they said, yes, you got credit on your other card. And sure enough, there is now 30 some dollars late fee. I called the other card and I said, look, I don't understand. How do I get credit on a card that the charge was on another card? And she said, you have to take that with Amazon. So long story short, I talked with Amazon again. And we were on the phone for about an hour and a half because they could, for some reason, they couldn't figure out the fact that there were two different credit cards, two different numbers. They say, okay, what's the four last number and these four last number? And after about an hour and a half, the girl said, hold on a second. And this was not American based. Well, let's put it this way. This was not an American talking to me. So it was also hard to understand and getting frustrated. Another person who identified himself as the supervisor came online, and she looked and she said, well, who in the family has access to that card? I said, my wife, and my daughter also has access to that card when she buys stuff for the company. She said, well, this looks like it was something for the company, and they stay kind of ambiguous about it. And she said, what's your daughter's name? I told her, and she said, and the address, and I told her. She said, you need to ask her if she charged her dues to this card. So I said, I know she didn't. She has her own account, but okay, I will if that's going to help. So I asked Hannah, and in the evening, she called me. She said, well, what do you know, Dad? They charged my dues to your card just because it was in the account, even though it's not my default card for payment for renewals.
Oh, come on.
So I called Prime and I told her, and she said, well, we don't know how that happened. No, I mean, I called Amazon. I said,
Yeah.
they said, we don't know how this happened. We're very sorry. I said, sorry, my, you know, now
my 40 bucks back.
we didn't know what this, and I don't mind paying it. I have no problem paying it. But somebody's going to have to call the bank and tell them to take off the late fee off because you told me not to pay it.
Yep.
Well, we don't have that authority to do this. After half an hour, she came back and she said, okay, we're going to give you credit for that charge on the Prime card. I said, okay, so you expect me to pay now that you gave me credit on the other card, so I need to pay that. She said, no, this was already processed, so it's okay, forget about it. You got that credit. I said, so in other words, you're telling me that you gave me a free year, and you give my daughter a free year. She said, yes.
Well,
I said, and you have the authority to do that. She said, I just cleared it with my supervisor, and you'll get the notice in 3 days or so. I said, well, in that case, forget it. I'll pay the late fee. It's okay. If you go into that extent, it's fine. And we left it at that.
I mean,
What a
one thing we
mess.
can- yeah, but one thing we can say about Amazon customer support
Yeah.
is even when you hit a mess with them, they always come through. So
Yeah,
I don't know how they
absolutely.
do it.
And I
Yeah,
told her, I said, once this is all clear with the Prime card, I'm canceling the Prime card. She said, why? I said, I have no use for it. Why
Yeah.
should I have two cards and it's you guys don't know how to manage it? Then why should I have it? I can do the same thing. I said, what's the difference between the two cards? She said, nothing. I said, okay, then never mind. Just cancel it
Yeah.
and forget about it. But I mean, this was, I probably spent over 3 hours. And
Yeah.
the lady that night sent me an email. She said, Mr. Nissan, I'm very sorry for all the headaches that you have because of this. And I hope that you do not hold it against us and blah, 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 blah. I said,
Yeah.
that's nice. Somebody did that, even though that's their job. But what?
Yeah. What a mess.
Yeah, what a mess.
I'm glad they worked
Exactly.
it out though.
What?
I said I'm glad they worked it out though,
Yeah, me too.
because they just as easily could have been like, no, we don't want to deal with this. Not our problem. I've had that problem with Spectrum, so when I jump ship to AT&T,
Well,
not
I
that.
was about to say that is what you would get from
yeah,
Spectrum, and then you
exactly.
said it.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. They have a scam going on in Spectrum and they know about it, and they tried to convince me that I was the one that let in the scam. And I'm like, no, I literally do not have access in your systems to add an account. Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, oh, well, it was an email, blah blah. I was like, yeah, that's not my email. somebody got into my account through your side. And anyways, it was really frustrating. So I jumped ship to AT&T. And I'm not saying that AT&T they probably have their own problems, but with
Yeah.
me, not yet. Knock on wood.
How long have you been with them now?
Uh, just over a year.
How many times did you call them for problems?
0.
Exactly. That's
Yep.
the point.
Yep. And the thing is so the thing that made me I really never had problems with Spectrum beforehand, but then all of a sudden my service got cut off and I was like, "Ooh, what the hell?" And um I went in and I was looking at it and it said that I haven't paid my payment in
Yep.
like 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yes I have, because I have it automatic and I keep my credit cards up to date and blah 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 blah. And so when I called them, they said, which address are you calling for? And I said, what do you mean what address I'm calling for? I literally only have one address and I've never had multiple addresses with Spectrum. And then like, oh, well, we can't tell you the other address. And I was like, what do you mean?
Right.
It's under my account, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they're like, yeah. And they're like, well, then give me that other address. And so what happened is somehow in their system, somebody added a second address to my account, and I wasn't paying to that account, or like something they did something in the background where like my credit card stuff wasn't going through for whatever reason because of the second account. So they were trying to get me to pay for the second account, like the scammers were. And I don't know, so it had to have been all on their back end. And then when I was talking to tech support and talking about this scam, they're like, "Oh yeah, we're aware of it. There's nothing we can do." I'm like, so somebody on the
Bullshit.
inside of
Yeah.
Spectrum is adding random addresses, like ghost addresses to people, and then you don't care. Like they're like, oh well, we can't do anything about it, and you probably got scammed through email. And I was like, lady, I I I don't accept spam email. I don't open up email. I barely open up work's email because people contact me through other means. There's no way that happened.
Yep.
Anyways, it was frustrating.
Well,
So be careful out
you're
there,
lucky.
people that have
You're
Spectrum.
lucky that that happened back then because you got much better service
Oh yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
and for less
yeah.
money, probably.
Oh yeah, I switched to fiber and everything, and I
Yep.
haven't looked back.
Yep.
And they were trying to keep me. They're like, "Oh well, you could have upgraded your services, and because we changed our policy." And I was like, "No, you guys are buttholes. I'm gone."
Yep. Twice in the last month, I see 2 or 3 people walking down the driveway, our driveway. So I go out and I said, yes. I mean, and it happened twice, 2 different teams. And I said, can I help you? They said, what kind of internet do you have here? I said, who are you? I said, oh, we're with Verizon. So I literally took a step back, pointed at the street, and I said, I don't want anything Verizon here. Turn around and walk out the driveway. Oh, you had a problem with Verizon? I said, yes. Walk out of here. I don't want anything with Verizon. Twice it happened.
Mm.
I added the sign on the first tree there by the edge of the driveway. No trespassing.
No no
Wow.
Verizon. Yeah, if AT&T does something screwy, I can switch to Google Fiber. I keep
Yeah,
getting Google
that's the
Fiber.
nice thing. We're lucky. We
Flyers.
have other options in the area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, in our area, yeah.
Yep. Anyway, Anything else anybody wants to bring up?
Nah, it started pouring. I thought I was gonna lose connection there for a minute. It had another one of those huge storms that just and then left.
Do you look at the radar?
No,
Yeah, just go to weather.com.
I let my niece tell me.
Oh,
They and my that's the advantage to getting older is you get
oh, listen to
meteorologist
you.
elbows.
Listen to you.
Actually, it probably only works if you walk outside, and I didn't walk outside, so I'm just using my ears. It's exciting. I don't want to know what's going on unless it's something drastic, or I want to go outside. I should look at the radar, but I don't. I'll just get weather alerts when there's like a flash flood warning, and even then, I don't do anything.
Yeah, well, that's in most cases. I mean, I really don't believe anything that they say anymore.
Hmm.
So, radar, it's something is not working right. Oh well.
It's okay. I'll look at my phone. What does it say? It says it's raining and it'll stop in 28 minutes. Thank you, phone.
Yeah, I'm
So
just surprised that it's screwing up that bad. But yeah, I mean, it's literally we're right under it.
Yep. Perfect.
See, we're right.
what was that weather site again you use?
Weather.com.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't go there, but I'll try it.
Yep. So there was a big. You can see that red one. It moves. It moves to the right. To the right, probably here. Let me put it here.
Supposedly you can get access to,
Actually, it's going up. We didn't go through. Oh, you did maybe. That's right. But here, and it's gonna be gone in no time. It's
Yeah,
on and
28
off. But
minutes.
here's another one coming. Oh boy, we have a
Oh
big one
Lord.
coming.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, and another 28
that's around
minutes.
3 o'clock. Yeah.
Perfect. That's perfect reading weather. I got obsessed with a new book series on Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited is so amazing. And I eh, I discovered a new book series and I love it when I do and there's like 10 books out for that series. So I've just been like blazing through it. So this will give me an excuse to read more because I can't go
Well,
outside and do the
yeah,
garden like I was
fine.
supposed to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So I guess that's it for today, guys.
Yep.
All right. So thanks, Gal, Katie, Spence, Mike. Nick is probably still sleeping.
Nick in spirit.
Yeah. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Donna, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov, and Yael. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, update your virus scanner, and change any same passwords where you use them. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And remember, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM in Wilmington with his daily comment and political talk. You can always tell your Echo device to play 980 The Wave while it's going on. Or you can go to nickcraig.com and listen to it after the fact. And Tuesdays at 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection podcast on Twitch. This is for survival games and gaming news. So Tuesdays, 7 p.m., twitch.tv/infection podcast. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll be back together next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.